super lucky disaster man. Chapter 65, Deadline and New Discovery. After receiving the news from Kudo Shinichi, Komaeda Nagito immediately headed toward his home. After all, anyone who could make Kudo Shinichi go out of his way to warn him was certainly no ordinary person, and the free intelligence provided by Sakaguchi Ango confirmed that point. Even though his recent life seemed peaceful and leisurely, there was no reason for him to feel dissatisfied about it. Yet, through all the past experiences, Komaeda Nagito had long lost the ability to take comfort in an ordinary existence. The calmer things became, the more uneasy he felt. Now that something had finally come to his door, he could hardly wait to find out what awaited him. By the time he reached the front door, Komaeda Nagito indeed saw the silver-haired boy described by Kudo Shinichi. Ah! The other also noticed him, smiling and greeting fluently in Japanese, Komaeda-kun. Komaeda Nagito, carrying his school bag, walked over and guessed, Yakuran Gesso. Yakuran Gesso blinked, oh, you recognize me. Did Dazai-kun tell you? Why did you guess it was Dazai-kun? Well, why indeed? Yakuran Gesso said nonchalantly, probably because I know Dazai-kun. This response is not really an answer, because even if he knows Dazai-Osamu wouldn't bring up topics related to Komaeda Nagito with him, and those strange rumors have mostly been dealt with. As for coming to Japan for a short visit, Yakuran Gesso shouldn't think that mentioning Komaeda Nagito's name would make Dazai-Osamu tell him anything. This reaction itself is a piece of information. Komaeda Nagito raised his eyebrows, revealing a characteristic smile. So, Yakuran Gesso-san, did you come to see me for something? Ah, not going to invite me in to talk. Yakuran Gesso casually said, I'm here to help you solve a problem, you know. Komaeda Nagito was taken aback. What problem? A kidnapping attempt. Yakuran Gesso smiled, an assassin. I threw him in the trash can next door. Do you want to report it now? Komaeda Nagito. Wait a moment. Though the conversation was a bit awkward, Yakuran Gesso successfully gained the opportunity to enter Komaeda Nagito's house. Komaeda Nagito led Yakuran Gesso into the yard, and as he took out the key to unlock the door, Yakuran Gesso suddenly bent down to inspect the lock. It seems like it's been pried open many times before. It was Dazai-kun. Komaeda Nagito answered without hesitation. Dazai-kun always breaking and entering? Yakuran Gesso's voice was as sweet as cotton candy, with a hint of schadenfreude. Komaeda Nagito calmly used the key to open the door. I thought you would have investigated this already. Even if I did investigate, I wouldn't look into such details. Yakuran Gesso did not argue, following inside. Though the way I appeared was rather suspicious, I really mean no harm to Komaeda-kun. Komaeda Nagito smiled and said, the fact that Gesso-san is willing to wait outside rather than directly breaking in is certainly commendable. Yakuran Gesso kept his smile. Komaeda-kun can just call me Yakuran. You really do have experience when it comes to handling break-ins, huh? Yakuran didn't actually want to wait, it was just that he gathered information, analyzed Komaeda Nagito's behavioral patterns, and figured that he would be back home soon. Who knows why you're so slow to return after school? Weren't things just fine a few days ago? But well, for this person, nothing that happens is too surprising. As for picking the lock. Although he didn't think there would be anything unexpected that could hurt him, being seen by neighbors who might report something weird also needed to be prevented. When he reviewed Komaeda Nagito's data, he had been astonished countless times by all kinds of miraculous accidents. Yakuran Gesso wanted to go alone, and though his subordinates advised him to take a few people with him, he felt that if any problems arose, bringing more people wouldn't be of any use. Besides, he was confident in his own abilities, so he confidently went by himself. Of course, his confidence wasn't blind arrogance, so he tried his best to avoid anything that might trigger unexpected complications. So far, everything had gone smoothly, and he had successfully entered Komaeda Nagito's house. So, what brings Yakuran-kun to me? Komaeda Nagito, as was his habit, politely added an honorific. Sorry, The tea leaves at home were found to be a bit stale yesterday, so they're all gone. Yakuran Gesso looked at the mineral water bottle in front of him, shrugged indifferently. It doesn't matter, mineral water is fine. If I said I just wanted to see you in person, would you believe it? Ha ha ha, if Yakuran-kun asks that, it means you already know the answer, right? Komaeda Nagito said with a wry smile, I don't think there's anything special about me that would make someone like Yakuran-kun go out of his way to come here. Is there anything you need from me? Just say it directly. Earlier, Sakaguchi Ango had told him that recently Yakuran Gesso had been discussing things with Dazai-kun. For him to suddenly show up at this time, there must be some purpose. Although Komaeda Nagito knew that Yakuran Gesso was considered a talented youth, he had his own judgment and would not blindly trust someone just because they were talented. Yakuran Gesso didn't touch the water, but pulled out the half-eaten cotton candy and continued eating. What a pity, I truly just came to see Komaeda-kun, without planning to do anything. If I must say something, perhaps even helped Komaeda-kun evade a kidnapping once? Thank you, Komaeda Nagito said. Probably came from Hakata, right? Huh. You know about it? Yakuran Gesso seemed a bit surprised. Komaeda Nagito nodded. That year, along with him, had picked up the wrong USB, infiltrated his house, and got involved with a liquor factory undercover FBI agent who was also sneaking into the house, leading to him getting beat up, Seita-kun. Due to providing the intelligence contained in that USB, the Japanese police successfully took down a major murder-for-hire company. After that, under the police's assistance, he underwent a complete disguise and changed locations to find work again. The place he went to was Hakata. The Japanese police, after hearing this, were all in awe. This person graduated and went straight to a murder-for-hire company, and after finally escaping, was deceived into joining a group of assassins in his hometown. After that, the Japanese police decisively negotiated a bit with Saito, making him an undercover officer, which indeed helped quite a bit. The bounty on Komaeda Nagito over in Hakata was relayed by him, as Komaeda Nagito was someone closely connected to Saito's sudden change in life, so he remembered the name Komaeda Nagito deeply. Of course, no one knew what he was feeling when he was in Hakata, upon hearing the Port Mafia's well-circulated rumors and unexpectedly coming across the name Komaeda Nagito. In any case, thanks to his secret report, Komaeda Nagito had long known that he was being watched by assassins and also knew that they didn't actually want his life, they just wanted to test Dazai Osamu's reaction. By the way, Mori Ogai was also aware of this matter. Mori Ogai didn't have time to say anything before Dazai Osamu took the initiative to dispel the rumors, so it was merely a matter of ensuring that the Port Mafia paid more attention to the people from Hakata during their actions. Over in Tokyo, his hand doesn't reach that far yet, but giving a little protection to his junior in Yokohama's territory shouldn't be a problem, Natsume-sensei. If you're watching this, could you please give me some extra credit? Based on Natsume Soseki's personality, and the fact that Komaeda Nagito was still a student at the time, without having joined any organization, Mori Ogai deduced that Komaeda Nagito had yet to complete his apprenticeship. If he hadn't graduated yet, then given Komaeda Nagito's background as an orphan, he should still be under Natsume-sensei's protection. Natsume-sensei's acceptance of disciples is always confidential, and he would not request protection from the government either, so that letter sent earlier was not just to ask Dazai Osamu how Komaeda-kun was doing in America, but also served as a hint. Komaeda Nagito is your junior disciple, remember to look after him while he's in your territory. Having understood the hint, Mori Ogai naturally didn't mind showing off a bit in front of Natsume-sensei. After all, it was an easy task, especially with Dazai Osamu around. Most of the time, there was no need for him to get involved. The assassins from Hakata really weren't worth Mori Ogai's attention, just some ordinary people, after all. As for Tokyo, not to mention the secret contacts with the Japanese police headquarters, the police station around Komaeda Nagito's place, even the Metropolitan Police Department, actually had quite a few people who knew of him. This was because incidents of all kinds would happen frequently around him, and the operators all remembered his voice clearly. So, just now when Komaeda Nagito made a call outside, the police immediately came to take away the assassins who had been knocked unconscious and thrown next to the trash bin. They didn't even come to Komaida Nagito for a statement because it wasn't the first time. Moreover, they felt that sooner or later they would have the opportunity to do it, and compared to having Komaida Nagito make a statement when unexpected incidents occur, it was still better to interrogate the suspect first. If there were any issues, they could contact him again without any problems, and if one day Komaida Nagito happened to pass by the Metropolitan Police Department, he should remember to drop by and complete the statement. Ah, this is the benefit of having acquaintances. Discovering that Komaida Nagito knew more than he had imagined, Yakuran Gesso blinked. Oh, am I meddling in others' affairs? He may have investigated Komaida Nagito's information, but because of his personal interests, he mainly focused on all sorts of accidents. As for the infighting among those factions in Japan, he paid them no mind at all and naturally wouldn't bother understanding them. What could make him investigate everything from big issues to minor details, and seriously go through all the information, would be a massive organization like the Vongala family, or a group of talents like the Port Mafia. How could it be? I want to thank you, Komaida Nagito smiled, this shows that you're part of my luck, you know. Ha, Komaida-kun is really something. Yakuran Gesso thought that this guy was somewhat different from the information. He was a bit arrogant. Clearly, the one who helps was himself, but what Komaida Nagito paid attention to was luck. Moreover, he viewed him as a product brought by luck. This made Yakuran Gesso somewhat displeased. Just at this moment, the sound of the door opening came from the entryway, and not long after, Dazai-Osamu's figure appeared in the living room. Yakuran-kun. Dazai-Osamu smiled in a way that made one's hair stand on end. If you wanted to meet Komaida-kun, you could have just asked me. Maybe then you could have gotten in a bit earlier, instead of waiting outside. Yakuran Gesso, immune to Dazai-Osamu's passive-aggressive mockery, even retorted, relying on locks? For something like that, there's no need for Dazai-kun to be here. Dazai-Osamu widened his eyes, looking completely innocent. What lock-picking? Komaida-kun gave me the key. Ah. Yakuran Gesso. Wait, when seeing the prying marks earlier, didn't Komaida Nagito say? Receiving Yakuran Gesso's questioning gaze, Komaida Nagito blinked. Ah, actually, Dazai-kun does have the key, but because he always loses it, that's why there are prying marks. This time, I didn't lose it. Before going into the water, I handed my wallet over to Akutagawa-kun. Dazai-Osamu said, giving Yakuran Gesso a look, as if expecting him to understand. Yakuran Gesso. On this topic of unlocking the door, without a doubt, Yakuran Gesso had lost. However, what truly frightened Yakuran Gesso was not this issue, but rather Dazai-Osamu's attitude towards Komaida Nagito. Even with him standing right there, Dazai-Osamu still instinctively relaxed the moment he saw Komaida Nagito. His smile also appeared far more genuine than usual. After all, when it came to Dazai-Osamu's trademark businesslike expressions, and having seen countless versions of them across different worlds, were something Yakuran Gesso had seen far too many times. To seriously distinguish whether the expression was a genuine feeling or a pretense was not particularly difficult for him. Correct, Yakuran Gesso is not an ordinary person. He has the ability to peek into parallel worlds. He can see different types of worlds. The so-called different types refer to how each world is composed of different individuals. From Yakuran Gesso's perspective, as long as he exists in a world, the Vongala family is also there. Therefore, to him, Sawada Tsunayoshi can be considered his rival. The remarkable thing was that in worlds where ability users existed, there would naturally be organizations like the Port Mafia, as well as government departments operating in secret to handle those with abilities. A world war dominated by ability users a few years prior would also certainly have taken place. But in worlds without ability users, none of these things existed at all. The Acrobolino is also the same reason. This world has no Acrobolino, so Italy also lacks a certain passionate organization. It's almost as if various independently existing worldviews have been mixed together. Yakuran Gesso likes to study these things when he's bored. He finds it quite enjoyable. He came to Yokohama this time, precisely to get a little closer to this world's Dazai-Osamu. The ability to nullify abilities, if used well, is practically a great weapon. Compared to the Dying Will Flame, abilities indeed have more diverse effects, but even so, nullification stands out as something remarkable. No, don't misunderstand, he wasn't harboring any grand dream of world domination. Indeed, there were some worlds conquered or destroyed by the parallel world Yakuran Gesso, but that wasn't his intention. When he said he only wanted to make contact, it really was just that, simple curiosity, because not only was Dazai Osamu's ability interesting in effect, the person himself was also very interesting. When Yakuran Gesso observed the parallel worlds, he decided that he absolutely had to get to know Dazai Osamu. From the beginning, it was almost in line with his plan, meeting Dazai Osamu, getting in touch with the Port Mafia, and even seeing Nakahara Chuya, the one who displayed great power in the parallel world. Because everything went so smoothly, fitting perfectly into his plan, Yakuran was even bored enough to consider whether he should drop by Namamori and pay a visit to his archrival from other worlds, Sawada Tsuneyoshi. It was at this moment that he finally heard about the rumor that had been popular since last year until early this year, and learned of the name Komaida Nagito. Who? The first time he heard this name, Yakuran Gesso showed a puzzled expression, the Dazai Osamu in the rumors. Is it the Dazai Osamu I know? His subordinate respectfully replied, it's Port Mafia's Dazai Osamu. Whoa ah. Yakuran Gesso was momentarily at a loss as to how to accurately judge his own feelings, and in the end, could only use his familiar smile to cover it up. This really is unexpected. Even if it were a rumor, it was still a bit too much. Moreover, the source of the rumor was the Port Mafia, which meant that something must have happened. It couldn't have just appeared out of nowhere. If you require information on Komaida Nagito, it should be ready in about 10 minutes. The loyal and capable subordinate said so. Yakuran Gesso was even more satisfied with his subordinate. After looking through the information, Yakuran Gesso was surprised. First, he scanned through the parallel worlds, completely unable to find a second Komaida Nagito, as if he were a unique specialty limited to this world. Next, it was about Komaida Nagito's experiences. And just like everyone else who first laid eyes on Komaida Nagito's file, Yakuran Gesso couldn't help but let out a gasp of astonishment born from sheer disbelief. Lastly, there was the matter of Dazai Osamu's relationship with Komaida Nagito. Shared a room together. Information gathering in these matters only involves piecing together the scattered clues, and does not inherently come with the truth. What the situation really was, Yakuran Gesso would have to figure out himself. Is he staying over? But even if he is, this relationship seems a bit too intimate. Across so many worlds, Yakuran Gesso had never seen anyone able to get along with Dazai Osamu to this degree. Not to mention all those peculiar rumors. If Yakuran Gesso didn't know what kind of person Dazai Osamu was, just hearing those rumors would make him think they had gone to a country where same-sex marriage is allowed, gotten their marriage certificate, and were now secretly married. Komaida Nagito. He must be the key. Yakuran Gesso felt as though he had hit the jackpot, gaining a rare sense of accomplishment. At this moment, it was as if he had conquered all parallel versions of himself. Look! My world has Komaida Nagito. Your world doesn't. Moreover, Dazai Osamu is also a rare version. I am the chosen one. That Yakuran, who destroyed countless worlds only to be defeated by little Tsuneyoshi from 10 years ago, is just a fool. Although they are all Yakuran Gesso only acknowledges himself as himself. The other worlds Yakuran Gesso, some are despised by him, some scorned by him, and some simply ignored, and he feels no psychological burden whatsoever. Especially the Yakuran Gesso who wanted to destroy all the worlds, even tried to manipulate the parallel worlds himself. The result was discovering there were many worlds with power systems no less formidable than the Dying Will Flame, and getting beaten up before being expelled from the parallel world. In the end, he only dared to act mighty in worlds, close to having the Dying Will Flame, and was eventually defeated by Sawada Tsuneyoshi. Honestly, it's utterly contemptible. Every Yakuran Gesso living in the composite worlds couldn't help but complain about that version of himself, truly the foolish son of a landlord family, thinking that just because he held a mere ring, he could swagger his way through every world. Getting taught a lesson was well-deserved indeed. Yakuran Gesso didn't know fear. Although he wasn't capable of developing a fearful heart, he was still careful enough. After all, the consequence of his arrogance and pride had already been made clear to every version of Yakuran across parallel worlds by that great fool himself. It was truly nailed to the pillar of shame. In short, because of past failures, this version of Yakuran Gesso had no intention of doing anything too significant. At most, he was just making certain events a little more interesting for his own amusement. Even upon discovering Komai de Nagito, his only intention was to view it as a limited-time exhibit and take a look out of curiosity. He genuinely had no plans to do anything beyond that. Dazai Osamu ended up guarding him like a thief. I know I've got a record. Although well-versed in knowledge, the truth is Yakuran Gesso is only in his teens, and the corner of his mouth twitched. But Dazai-kun's reaction is too hurtful. Dazai Osamu said with a praising tone, I believe that with your thick skin, Yakuran, you won't be hurt by such a trivial matter. Dazai-kun. Yakuran Gesso was silent for a moment. You know my level of Japanese. So you know that I understand your sarcasm, ah. Dazai Osamu calmly said, Of course I know, otherwise I would have spoken in Italian. Finding it dull to keep pretending, Yakuran Gesso sighed and shifted from the composed demeanor of a seasoned family leader to the sulky tone more fitting for his age. So, you really don't believe that I only came to see Komaeda-kun? Yakuran. Dazai Osamu replied in an equally sincere tone, If it were you, would you believe it? Yakuran Gesso. Of course not. Without even considering that to Yakuran Gesso, Komai Nagito was a one-of-a-kind existence across countless worlds, he himself also felt his actions were highly suspicious. It could also be explained as taking an interest in Dazai Osamu's infamous partner, but that made it even more suspicious. Why are you interested in the scandalous matters of others when you have nothing to do with them? Fine, let's say you're curious, and you're gathering information or coming to investigate on your own. A legitimate reason would make sense, but you say you just want to take a look. There's definitely some conspiracy at play. Even if it's not directed at the Port Mafia, it's definitely aimed at Dazai Osamu. Otherwise, you wouldn't go to such lengths just to observe someone from outside their house. Judging others by his own standards, Yakuran Gesso also knew just how suspicious he seemed, but he didn't think of explaining it to Dazai Osamu with, compared to you, I'm more interested in Komaeda-kun, because he couldn't even predict what Dazai Osamu's reaction would be, so he could only regretfully abandon the opportunity this time. It seems that the one living with you don't welcome me. Yakuran Gesso shrugged, handing Komai Nagito a business card. This is my contact information. I think once we get to know each other a little better, you'll find out that everything I say is true. Dazai Osamu's face stiffened, as he knew that Komai Nagito would absolutely not refuse. Komai Nagito accepted the business card as expected. I understand, if there's any request for assistance, feel free to contact me, you should have my email address. Up until now, Komai Nagito still felt that Yakuran had some kind of plan that required his cooperation. It was unlikely that he was just visiting for no reason, only that he hadn't had a chance to bring it up yet. Even the address had been investigated, and now pretending not to know wasn't interesting, so Yakuran Gesso squinted his eyes and smiled, alright then. After Yakuran Gesso left, Dazai Osamu immediately asked Komai Nagito what Yakuran had said to him earlier. After listening to Komai Nagito's recount, he fell into thought. Is something wrong? Komai Nagito asked. Doesn't make sense, he wouldn't do something meaningless. Dazai Osamu pouted, but questioning him is pointless, pure pleasantries are useless to him, so there's no need to waste time. Just pay more attention to what he plans to do next. Meanwhile, as he left Komai Nagito's house, Yakuran Gesso took out a cotton candy, eating it as he walked. Came back so soon, I didn't even get to have a proper chat with Komaeda-kun, Yakuran Gesso complained childishly. If I had more time, I actually wanted to see Komaeda-kun's luck with my own eyes. What a shame. Suddenly, Yakuran Gesso realized that he had just seen something strange and turned back to check again. It was a bookstore. The door was open, facing the entrance display stand, where some best-selling books were placed. What caught Yakuran Gesso's attention was a book titled, Crime and Punishment. Huh. In this world, Dostoevsky still writes books? This book was currently only being sold in Russia and Japan. The speed at which Japan promoted and translated it was incredibly fast, as part of Natsume Soseki's fishing plan, aiming at least to make the enemy suspect Japan. Investigating in this direction would ensure the plan's advancement. Yakuran Gesso, for the first time in this world, saw this book. It should be known that in a world with abilities, the literary section is usually quite miserable, so he didn't expect that Dostoevsky in this world hadn't changed careers. However, when he opened the table of contents, he immediately realized something was off. If these were truly Dostoevsky's own works, there was no way they could be compiled in such a chaotic manner, with most of them only having beginnings but no endings, all crammed into a single book. The most mysterious part is that these works have contents similar to Dostoevsky's original writings. There is definitely something wrong here. Thinking carefully, it almost seems like this was set up to lure Dostoevsky of this world. Is it that, besides him, someone else can see the parallel worlds? The Vongala family's 10-year bazooka might possibly reach such a goal, but with so many parallel worlds, the 10-year bazooka still has a limited number of shots. They might not have even discovered the worlds of the literary figures, and the places they went to might have very similar structures to this world. Who would it be? Could it be that abnormal Komai de Nagito? Yakuran Gesso didn't believe that out of so many worlds, there was only one Komai de Nagito. Perhaps there was another Komai de Nagito's world, a world of literary figures, but without him, Yakuran Gesso, which is why he hadn't discovered it. The possibility of this related to Komai de Nagito is very low. Considering the colorful diversity of this world, on the other hand, the possibility becomes higher, but Yakuran Gesso doesn't mind this at the moment. He only wants to make the world a bit more interesting. Let's try turning things around a bit. Even if it has nothing to do with Komaida, it doesn't matter. Hasn't Dostoevsky been eyeing Japan for a long time now? Just give him a little clue, draw him over here. Hahaha, since I can't witness Komaida-kun's luck today, let's just go for a grand one. Chapter 65 End.